In 2023, Singapore ranked as the 5th most expensive country in the world. I know what you must be thinking, that studying in Singapore means emptying your bank account. But wait, hold on. What if I told you the exact cost of studying in Singapore? And then you can make a decision whether it's expensive or not. Deal? Well, let's get started. Hi everyone, I am Neha Agrawal. I'm the founder of WiseUp Communications and a proud alum of NTU Singapore. In this video, I'm going to share with you the entire cost of studying in Singapore, whether you're going for an undergrad, master's or PhD program. We're going to talk about tuition fees, accommodation, food, traveling and other miscellaneous expenses. In fact, towards the end, I'm also going to share with you some options of scholarship and part-time work to offset some of these expenses. So without further delay, let's get started. When it comes to studying in Singapore, tuition fees form the majority expense. Without any government subsidy or scholarship, for an international student, the tuition fees per annum is going to be approximately 35,000 SGD. Which if you convert to INR is approximately 22 lakh rupees. Now generally on an average an undergrad program is for 4 years, so the tuition fees is going to be 88 lakh rupees. Now this number that I'm sharing with you can vary based on the program you're applying to, the duration of the program and even the university. So please check accordingly. But this figure I'm sharing with you is for an average undergrad engineering program in universities like NTU and NUS. When it comes to master's programs, there are two kinds. One is a coursework based program and another is a research based program. For coursework based program, the duration is approximately 1 to 1.5 years. And last when I checked, the fees is roughly 34,000 SGD for the entire program. And it can go up to as high as 54,000 SGD for more in-demand programs like data science, artificial intelligence, etc. So in terms of INR, you will roughly be spending 20 to 30 lakh rupees for your master's by coursework program in tuition fees, which let me tell you is pretty cheap when you compare it with other Western countries. Now for research-based programs, the duration ranges from 1 to 3 years. The reason it is variable is because it completely depends upon you. How much time do you take to complete your research? So here the fees is calculated on a per semester basis. So for a master's by research program, the fees is 23,000 SGD per semester, which if you convert to INR is 14 lakh rupees. So that gives you a yearly fees of 28 lakh rupees. Alright. Now when I checked, majority of the people take approximately 2 years to complete their master's by research program. So the fees for the entire program then becomes 56 lakh rupees. Don't get worried because when you go for a master's by research program, you can opt for a service obligation scheme that reduces your tuition fees by nearly 50%. More details on this I'm going to share with you at the end of the video. Now for PhD program, same fees applies as that of master's by research. Now in a PhD program, the rough duration is 4 years. So you can imagine what the fees is going to be. But the reason I'm not calculating it for you is because PhD programs generally come with a scholarship. So to know more about the different scholarship schemes that are available, you can check out my previous video where I've not only spoken about the scholarships but the entire application process as well. Now apart from this tuition fees, there is a small miscellaneous fees which includes your health service fee and student service fee, which is approximately 500 SGD per year. So if you convert to INR is 30,000 rupees annually. Now that the tuition fees are out of the way, I know what you guys are most interested in, and that is living expenses. What does it take to live in the 5th most expensive country in the world? Well, majority of that money you're going to spend on accommodation, after that food, traveling expenses and some miscellaneous expenses as well, which I'm going to break down for you. So when it comes to undergrads, both NTU and NUS offer on-campus accommodation. And my recommendation to you would be that in Singapore, if a university offers you on-campus accommodation, take it because it's going to be the cheapest option available for you. So for NTU and NUS, there are quite a lot of variations in the type of hostels and rooms that you can get, from sharing to single rooms, from AC to non-AC, attached bathrooms to non-attached bathrooms, and you can choose the room type that works best for you. The hostel room cost varies from 400 to 600 SGD based on the choice that you make, which is 25,000 to 30,000 rupees on a per month basis. This does not include food. Food is going to have separate expenses. Okay. Now for Masters and PhD programs, NTU offers on-campus accommodation but guaranteed only for 1 year. After that, if you want to extend your stay on campus, you have to be a part of certain clubs, societies, etc. So if you fulfill those requirements, you can stay on campus for a longer duration. For NUS, master's students are not given on-campus accommodation. In fact, so many other universities also, you don't get on-campus accommodation. So in that case, you need to stay off-campus. Now for off-campus housing, you will be spending roughly 800 to 900 SGD for a sharing room. And the cost can go up to 1500 SGD per month for a single room. And this cost can actually vary quite a bit as well based on the location that you're staying in or the property type, because in general HDBs are cheaper than condos. So based on all these things, the cost can also vary quite a bit. Next is food, and the cost on average per meal is $5, provided you're eating in canteens and hawker centers. Of course, if you decide to cook some of these meals, the cost is going to be lesser, but you can expect to spend $300 to $400, that is SGD per month, on your food. Next comes traveling, and traveling varies quite a bit based on where you're staying. If you're staying on campus and you're stepping out only once in a while, and even then you decide to take like public transport like MRT and public buses, then you're not going to spend more than $50, $60 in a month tops. But if you're staying off campus and you have to travel to campus every day, then your cost can go up to $100, $150 in a month. Of course, this cost is completely for public transport, because if you decide to take cabs every time you travel, then your per cab ride can be on an average $30. Alright, so you really need to be mindful about all these things. Apart from this, you can consider another 200 to 300 SGD as miscellaneous expenses for when you're stepping out once in a while, or for your other groceries and supplies, etc. So if we calculate the total cost of living excluding tuition fees, it can be as low as 1000 SGD when you're staying on campus in a simple sharing room and you have very low travel expenses and you're trying to cook most of your meals, then it's going to be around that. And it can also go up to 2500 SGD when you're staying off campus, you need to travel and you're also eating most of your meals outside. So the reason why I'm giving you such a huge range, from 1000 SGD to 2500 SGD, is because majority of this cost depends on accommodation. So if you're able to find a cheap accommodation option, then that is going to offset a significant amount of your living expenses. So if we convert this to INR and talk about the annual cost of living, it can vary from 7 to 8 lakhs per year all the way till 18 lakhs as well. And even this range that I'm sharing with you is actually pretty tight. It is for someone who's very conscious about their spendings. Otherwise, in Singapore, there is no upper limit. You can easily spend $200 on a night out without even realizing it. Now, after hearing this cost, if you're seriously doubting your intentions to study in Singapore, don't worry, because I'm going to share some amazing options with you that will help in offsetting these expenses. Singapore offers a unique scholarship called a service obligation or tuition grant, under which the government reduces your tuition fees by nearly 50%, provided you work in Singapore for 3 years after you graduate. This scheme can be availed by anyone who's opting for an undergrad program or a master's by research program in Singapore. So remember, for the undergrad program, we had calculated the total fees for 4 years to be 88 lakh rupees. that gets slashed to 44 lakhs. Similarly, for a 2-year Masters by Research program, we had calculated the fees as 56 lakhs. That gets slashed to 28 lakhs. Happy now? Well, just one doubt I want to clarify is that this service obligation scheme is only applicable on your tuition fees and not your other living expenses. Now, to offset your living expenses, you can take up a part-time job. In Singapore, along with your studies, you're allowed to work part-time for 16 hours per week. So your part-time job can vary quite a bit from, say, working in the supermarket or the library to taking up a remote internship or working with a professor on a research project. All these part-time jobs are paid and can help you offset your living expenses from somewhere between 50 to 100% based on the kind of work that you do and the number of hours you're ready to put in. Now, to know more about these part-time jobs, you can check out my previous video where I'd explained this in detail. So guys, that's all I wanted to share with you today. Hope this video has given you enough clarity about what it takes to study in Singapore, and based on this, you can now make a decision whether you would like to study in Singapore or not. If you have any more questions about the application process, admission requirements, or in general, anything about Singapore, you can join me for my 1-to-1 Singapore consultation session. To know more, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And now, thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you have a fantastic career ahead.